Hashtag how VPNs work, and when you actually need one every single day, millions of people around the world click a button, watch a little padlock icon appear on their screen, and believe they've just become completely invisible online. But here's the uncomfortable truth that the VPN industry doesn't want you to think too hard about. A VPN is not a cloak of invisibility. It's a tool. A powerful one, yes, but only when you actually understand what it does, what it doesn't do, and precisely when you need it. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on one of the most misunderstood technologies in consumer cybersecurity. Let's start from the very beginning, because understanding how a VPN works requires understanding what happens when you connect to the internet without one. When you open your browser and type in a web address, your device sends a request out through your router, through your internet service provider, your ISP, and across a vast network of servers until it reaches the destination. Every single step of that journey, your data carries identifying information. Your IP address travels with every packet, telling the world exactly where the request came from. Your ISP can see which websites you're visiting, when you're visiting them, and how long you stay. If you're sitting on a public Wi-Fi network at a coffee shop or an airport, anyone with basic network monitoring tools can potentially intercept unencrypted traffic passing through that connection. This is the fundamental problem that VPNs were originally designed to solve. The term VPN stands for Virtual Private Network, and the keyword there is private. The technology was actually developed in the mid-1990s, not for consumers protecting their Netflix streams, but for corporations allowing employees to securely access internal company networks from remote locations. A Microsoft engineer named Gurdeep Singhpal is widely credited with developing the point-to-point tunneling protocol in 1996, which became one of the earliest foundations of modern VPN technology. So how does a VPN actually work in practice? When you connect to a VPN, your device establishes an encrypted tunnel between itself and a VPN server operated by your VPN provider. All of your internet traffic is routed through that tunnel before it reaches the open internet. From the outside looking in, instead of your real IP address, websites and services see the IP address of the VPN server. Your ISP can see that you're connected to a VPN, but they cannot see what you're doing inside that encrypted tunnel. The encryption itself is where the real technical magic happens. Modern consumer VPNs typically use ES-256 encryption, which stands for Advanced Encryption Standard with a 256-bit key. To put that in perspective, ES-256 is the same encryption standard used by the United States government to protect classified information. A brute force attack attempting to crack ES-256 encryption with all the computing power currently available on Earth would take longer than the estimated age of the universe to succeed. That's not marketing language, that's mathematics. VPNs also use different protocols to establish and maintain these connections. OpenVPN has long been considered the gold standard for security, using SSL and TLS protocols to create its secure tunnel. WireGuard is a newer protocol that's gained enormous traction because it offers comparable security with significantly faster speeds and a much leaner codebase, roughly 4,000 lines of code compared to OpenVPN's hundreds of thousands, meaning there's simply less surface area for potential vulnerabilities. IKF2 is another common protocol, particularly popular on mobile devices because of how quickly it can re-establish a connection when you switch between Wi-Fi and cellular data. When data travels through a VPN, it goes through several key steps. Your device encrypts the outgoing data before it even leaves your machine. That encrypted data travels through your ISP's network, but since it's encrypted, your ISP sees nothing useful. It arrives at the VPN server, where it's decrypted and sent out to its final destination under the VPN server's IP address. When the destination server responds, that response goes back to the VPN server first, gets re-encrypted, travels back through the tunnel, and is finally decrypted on your device. This entire process happens in milliseconds, though the added routing and encryption does introduce some latency, which is why VPNs can slow down your connection speed. Now here's where we need to have an honest conversation, because this is exactly where the marketing meets reality. VPN providers have spent enormous amounts of money convincing consumers that they need a VPN running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, for every single thing they do online. The truth is considerably more nuanced. Let's talk about when a VPN genuinely matters. Public Wi-Fi networks are the clearest use case. When you connect to the free Wi-Fi at an airport, a hotel, a coffee shop, or any other public location, you have absolutely no idea who else is on that network or how it's configured. A technique called a man-in-the-middle attack allows a malicious actor on the same network to position themselves between your device and the internet, potentially intercepting unencrypted traffic. A VPN encrypts your data before it leaves your device, making intercepted packets completely unreadable to an attacker. If you regularly work remotely from public locations, a VPN is a legitimate security tool you should be using. Geographic restrictions represent another genuine use case. Streaming services, news outlets, and various online platforms restrict content based on your physical location. When you connect through a VPN server in a different country, you appear to be in that country. This is why people use VPNs to access different Netflix libraries, watch sports events blacked out in their region, or access services unavailable in their home country. This is a practical utility, though it does sit in legal gray areas that vary by jurisdiction and by the terms of service of specific platforms. Privacy from your ISP is a third legitimate concern. In many countries, including the United States following the 2017 repeal of FCC privacy rules, ISPs are legally permitted to collect and sell your browsing data to advertisers. A VPN prevents your ISP from building a detailed profile of your online activity. If this concerns you, and it reasonably might, a VPN addresses that specific threat effectively. Now let's talk about what a VPN absolutely does not do, because this matters just as much. A VPN does not make you anonymous. Your VPN provider can see your traffic. You are trusting them with the very data you're trying to hide from your ISP. This is why choosing a reputable provider with a verified no-logs policy is critical. Several providers have undergone independent audits to verify their logging claims. Companies like Mullvad, ProtonVPN, and ExpressVPN have published audit results. But an audited no-logs policy only tells you what they're logging today. It doesn't guarantee anything about the future. A VPN does not protect you from malware, phishing attacks, or social engineering. If you click a malicious link in a phishing email, being connected to a VPN offers you zero protection from what happens next. A VPN does not stop websites from tracking you through cookies, browser fingerprinting, or your logged-in accounts. If you're signed into Google and browsing the web, Google knows exactly what you're doing regardless of whether you're connected to a VPN or not. Your IP address is just one of dozens of data points used to track you online, and masking it while leaving all the others exposed provides a false sense of security. A VPN also doesn't protect you from data breaches at the services you use. If a company you have an account with suffers a breach and your credentials are exposed, that happens entirely on their end. No VPN can change that. There's also the question of trust shift. A VPN doesn't eliminate the privacy risk in your internet connection, it moves it. Instead of trusting your ISP with your data, you're trusting your VPN provider. If your VPN provider has weak security, poor privacy practices, or is operating under a legal jurisdiction that compels them to hand over user data, you may actually be in a worse position than you were without one. Free VPNs deserve special attention here, and not the good kind.